Here's the quote. One of the saddest lessons of history is this. If we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle.
Welcome to the Hen Report. This is Jasmin Singer.
And this is Mariann Sullivan.
And we are here from our hen house, which is your hen house too. Remember that theme song we used to have? Our hen house.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
was
had totally forgotten that.
by Michael Herron.
God.
Yeah.
We've been doing this a long time.
I know.
We had something before that too, didn't we? Because that was like the new thing when we got it. I remember when you used
to I can't do it, but yeah.
It was this tune that we bought
stock music.
Yeah. I was just thinking the other day, because we were talking about Animal Place in California, and I tried to come up with that video we made there, which I couldn't open, but we're going to try to get that fixed. Remember that? That was like a million years ago. It was Christmas time. We made a Christmas video with video of all the animals at Animal Place and Farm Sanctuary. They were not too far from each other in California, obviously. I was just strolling down memory lane. We have been doing this for so long.
If our hen house was a human being, that human being would be driving now. Right off a cliff. Thelma and Louise style. All right. So before we get to everything that we're going to be talking about today, and we have some news and we have some surprises, just a quick reminder about the Our Hen House podcast. Rising Anxieties comes out on Tuesdays. The Hen Report, which is this, comes out on Thursdays, and the long form interview on Fridays. Bonus for Flock members comes out on Monday. We are a podcast. We're also on YouTube. You could also call that a podcast if you want. I won't fight you on that. Hit subscribe and like wherever you listen. It really does help us. So, speaking of the old days, we used to begin every episode with a quote. And
that's right. I had forgotten that.
But you found a quote this week that you wanted to share.
Yeah, this was from Carl Sagan, who said many memorable and notable things. And somebody had quoted him in the context of talking about our president. And this was the quote. I thought, when I heard it, how applicable it is to animal agriculture, but we can talk about that on the other side. Here's the quote. One of the saddest lessons of history is this. If we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. We're not talking about a specific charlatan, because there's a whole world of charlatans who are trying to sell people on animal agriculture, and many of them actually believe it themselves, I suppose. But I thought in other ways it was, we're always searching for the answer to that question. Why do otherwise good people continue to eat animals in the face of all of the evidence of the horrific suffering? And I thought this was a pretty good one, that, this is a bad thing about human nature.
So I was leaving rehearsal the other day, and there was a buck, like a huge buck. Well, maybe he was just like a normal sized buck, and I'm never this close to bucks. But he was.
Is there another term for a male deer?
I'm not sure. A sweetheart. Get it? Anyway, this was a giant animal, and he was just as surprised.
Stag. That was the thing I was thinking of. Stag. I guess that's more British. Okay. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
It's okay. I think he was just as surprised to see me as I was to see him. And
this is really in a suburban area too.
Yeah. And so I was.
He wasn't very old either. I don't think his antlers were not huge. I saw a picture.
Just so that everyone knows, I did see him later run into the woods. So all ends well in this story. But he was in the parking lot of the theater. I was alone. I got out of rehearsal very late. The doors closed behind me. I was completely alone, and except for him. And he was alone except for me. And we both were like, "Whoa, what do we do now?" Anyway, It was a little intimidating. I think he was between me and my car, and I, for like a half a second, was like, I guess I'll just go to my car. I'm glad I didn't because that could have made him feel cornered. But and that might not have been a good ending for either
No,
of
I
us.
don't think they're like super dangerous unless you
Yeah,
do something that makes them, I mean, they'd rather run away than
right.
attack, but if you
Yeah,
make them feel like they can't run away, that could be
yeah. But
dangerous.
anyway, so the
And
reason
also,
I'm bringing
from what I've read, if it's, I don't know whether it's mating season. I don't suppose it would be, but maybe it is. I don't know. They have babies in the spring, so that might make sense. If
I
it's
did
mating
look
season,
sexy.
all bets are off because of testosterone, which basically is ruining the world.
I said I did look sexy that night.
That was,
Anyway,
I don't know
terrible.
whether to laugh at that or not.
No, yeah, no. But
Does,
the reason I brought that up within the context of this quote by Carl Sagan is because I took a little video, I sent it to a couple of the folks from the rehearsal, and one of them, who's like a lovely human being, sent me this sort of spiritual or sort of witchy thing about when you come across a buck in your life, and it just was like time for contemplation and like peace and blah blah blah. And I found it quite inspiring, and like, it was nice. And I have my own witchy vibes too sometimes. And I thanked her, and she said that she's super into like, oops, that she's that she's super into the symbolism of running into different type of animals, and all I could think was, "You eat them." Like,
oh,
I
yeah.
get I
Do you look at
get
your plate
that.
and think, "Oh, a chicken. Oh, chickens mean happiness."
I'm glad you said that because I was recently designing something on Canva, and I wanted to put some chickens in the design, and I typed in chickens, and it's a mix of, like, dead animals, like the
Yeah,
food,
yeah,
and chickens, and it's so awful. I mean, it's really rattles somebody, you know,
yeah.
anybody who gives a damn is gonna be rattled by that. But
Yeah,
okay,
if you give a
so
damn, your life is just a complete series of being rattled.
it's true. So again, with the quote, once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. Just makes me think of that. Yeah, it's an appropriate quote.
Because it's too pain I mean, we've often thought of this as one of the reasons to the ultimate question of why do good people eat animals? Otherwise, good people eat animals. And I do think that it's too painful to acknowledge is a big deal. I think I recently got this during a conversation. The response you often get, "Well, I only buy local." Like
Mhm.
people immediately try to come up with a with something that will somehow convince them that they have not done this because it's too painful to acknowledge that you've been doing this your whole life. I I
Right.
I think that was a block for me. But if
Yeah.
you've been doing something horrible your whole life, now is exactly the right moment to stop.
Yeah, and I mean it's so interesting because, and I'm thinking out loud here, so this might be terrible. But obviously, as you know, the play that I'm in, which opens in like 2 weeks,
Oh,
is
you're at a play,
I'm
really?
in a play, and I play Judy Garland in it. And she started to she started to be
I
drugged.
kind of remember you saying something about that.
Yeah, all right, shut up. She started to be drugged when she was like a young teenager, and as this line in the play goes, like, I was up at 4 a.m., 15 years old, 14 hours a day, take this, swallow that. Even my own mother insisted I take every pill they give me. How could I stop? Like, how? I could barely stand up without those things, let alone sing. And of course, that's what ultimately took her life when she was my age. And the reason I bring that up is because I've been giving a lot of thought to addiction. And of course, when it comes to food, we are addicted to animal products. They are literally made in such a way that we become addicted to
No,
them.
I mean, some of
Well,
them
like,
kind of,
sure,
but
fast food,
I don't
things
think
like
they're
that.
like nearly as addictive as like sugar and white flour and
All right.
heroin.
Well, okay, yeah, agreed. However, there's a science to it, making the food
Yeah,
the
yeah,
right blend of smushy and salty and
yeah,
soft,
sweet.
and goes
Yeah.
down your gullet at exactly the right speed to like trigger you wanting more, more, more. Anyway, when I was thinking about Judy, I was thinking, it's true. Like, how could she stop without the right intervention, which she never got? And it would be like being 46, my age, and waking up one day without your legs, like, just, and no wheelchair and no physical therapy and no anything. And it just makes me think of the moment we realized that we ate animals, right? And how you need the support in that moment, you need the information, you need the community to get you through that period of time. Am I going off my rocker a little bit?
No, I mean, I'm not sure you need all of those things because I think there are people who have done it without all of those things. But absolutely, it really helps if you're not trying to do it all by yourself and in the face of people who think you're crazy. But yeah, all of that helps. I mean, isn't that what our hen house is all about? Like
Mhm.
trying to create a place to support people and to encourage other people to support people who maybe they wake up a tiny bit and you can go one way or the other. You can sink back or you can say, I'm going to take the next step in my life in the way I want it to
Yeah.
go. All right, I just want
Mhm.
to add one story because
Yep.
this story, the your story about the buck reminded me of this thing
Mhm.
that's going around, which I had mentioned to you, but you hadn't heard of it. Um, an online, I don't know whether it's a survey or just a question or whatever, but a whole lot of women were asked online if you were in the woods alone, and you came upon either, would you rather come upon a bear or a strange man whom you don't know? And for, like the unbelievably vast majority of women respond a bear. I just think it's
Y
interesting. I mean, I do think I was saying later, I think it matters kind of like how the man is dressed and is the bear a black bear or a grizzly bear? Because I really wouldn't want to come across a grizzly bear. But I just think it's very telling. Like we don't we're not nearly as scared of animals as we are of each other. And
I'm
I
not
think
sure
that's
that
with very good reason.
I don't think the way the man is dressed would change my mind. I would just be
I
freaked
think it
out.
would influence me. I'm not saying that's a good thing about me. And
Mm.
I'm certainly not saying that if somebody is well dressed, like, and I don't mean like well dressed, like fancy, but looking like a hiker or something, like dressed in that kind of clothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Like
other
down and
than
out.
that, other than that,
Mhm.
and I do not think that's any guarantee of safety. I do not like to come upon strange men in lonely circumstances. I don't think any women do. I don't think the men who don't do that sort of thing, which I think is the vast majority of them, that we seem to be running into a lot of the others at the
They don't
moment.
realize it.
But they don't realize. I mean, I think when you
I
hear
know.
them talk about it, like podcasters or whatever, they're so shocked, and women are like, "Yeah,
I have a friend who has a teenage daughter, and my friend is a male, and he has a teenage daughter, and they were going to be hiring like a dude to work on their house, and the situation was such that he was going to be there when she was there alone. And my friend's wife was like, No way,
no
like, no way."
way." Yeah,
And my friend, who's a male, was like, "What are you talking about? This is a
yeah,
reputable person." And
yeah,
he called me and asked me my opinion, and I was like, "No way.
yeah.
Absolutely not." And he did
Yeah,
not
not
at
unless
all
you, I
understand.
mean, you can find out enough information, or it's not like you think every man is
Mhm.
going to behave horribly, not by any means. It's just that it's really hard to know. And men, of course they don't know because they don't run into this. They have never
But also
been
even just the fear
approached
of
inappropriately. They've never
yeah,
like what woman has not been at least approached inappropriately, like very inappropriately at least once. So
and
it's
and
pretty
and
rare.
also just the what about just the worry from the teenage girl? Like, just even
Yeah,
that
even
psychic
if he's
worry.
fine, she has to
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah, exactly,
And if she's not
exactly.
thinking about it, she should be thinking about it. All right,
Yeah.
let's move on. Let's move
Let's
on.
move on.
That's
So we have
enough of
some
this.
article we have a lot of
Because we have a lot
articles
of
to talk.
articles. None
Alright,
of them
let's
is
do
a
it.
huge, big story, but I did want to talk. Well, one of them, the first one I wanted to talk about, is a huge, big story. It's this article in the New Yorker. Unfortunately, it is behind a paywall. I don't know how to get beyond the paywall. I mean, I got beyond it, but that's because I paid. um,
Well, that's how you get behind it.
but it's an important article. It's not anything that you really have to read. The runaway monkeys upending the animal rights movement. And the subtitle is A Troop of Macaques Escaped One of the Largest Primate Breeding Facilities in America. Now, a strange coalition of uncompromising activists and MAGA loyalists is demanding that all ab animals be set free. And that's by Ava Kaufman. And it's a really good article. It's very long. It's the New Yorker. And it goes into a lot of detail, which you probably already know a fair amount about how just dreadful these breeding facilities are. This is one that's in Yamasee, South Carolina. And and apparently monkeys escape quite regularly, and this was a huge escape, and it's just a horrible, horrible story. And she goes into a great deal of detail. You don't really need to know that. I just wanted to mention it because it's great that there's such this long form article in the New Yorker about monkeys, and also because she does make the point, and it's mostly based on White Coat Waste Project, which is, basically a right wing oriented animal protection organization, and that the role that they played. I think that's where she's getting this MAGA bent. But I think this is just one more piece of this puzzle where the for animals there is this faction on the right that I think sometimes we ignore that is kind of really cares about animals. And we saw it with the squirrel story. I forget the squirrel's name. And other stories that, have indicated that people can get very, very emotional. And because people on the right, I think, are opposed to authority in a lot of different ways, they sometimes they see it, what authority is doing to these animals. So really interesting article, and I just wanted to, if you do have a subscription to the New Yorker, don't miss it.
Well,
And
I just want to say though that I don't have a subscription to the New Yorker and I just was able to open it, so maybe there's a certain amount
are you
of
sure? Are you sure you're able to read the whole article?
uh it looks like it,
Oh, okay,
but
good. Then I must have used up my monthly
mhm.
allowance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's cool. I mean, like we've always said, the animal rights is one of the few issues that runs the gamut of the political
yeah.
spectrum, and that's something to lean into, I think.
It's totally
Uh,
something to lean into. Most of
mhm.
all, because it can help the animals, obviously, to have people
Yeah.
coming from different directions. But it's also one of the few issues where we do find people of different political viewpoints who can can agree, at least to some extent, and that is increasingly valuable these days.
Yeah.
There's just one quote I'm going to take out here. It occurred to me that both narratives, the one about activists and the one about accidents, these were narratives she had been told by each side of the story, obscured the role played by the monkeys themselves, who seemed to be very much trying to leave. I really, and she actually cites to the 2011 book by Jason Hribble, Fear of the Animal Planet: The Hidden History of Animal Resistance. And I think this is a fact from within that is kind of known within the movement and not very far without that animals, they don't just happen to escape, especially monkeys who, are both thoughtful and quite devious. And she said, she pretty much says that they spend all their time trying to figure out how to get out. And one of the really tragic things is that a lot of them stayed in the area. And of course, the people on the facility, kind of made it sound like they either didn't hate the facility or they're stupid or whatever. But I think the woman from PETA was quoted as making an observation along the lines of, well, their families and friends are still in there. They want to get everybody out. I think that's a beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I've been seeing a lot of buzz about this lately. It just sometimes feels like it's one of those issues that's gonna continue to circle around and circle around and circle around, but I guess we'll see. We'll see how this moves it forward. Um,
Yeah, and one of the people who's quoted as saying good things about White Coat Waste, though not this particular incident, was Laura Loomer. So, yeah, strange bedfellows indeed. Also, Nancy Mace.
hmm,
Like,
yeah,
how is this all going to sort out? I don't know.
right. Well, we have some good news, it looks like, lots of good news to chat about. So
Well,
tell
there's
us
one more
about
piece of
what's
bad
going on.
news. that I have to
Oh, all
cover
right.
before we get to the good
Whoops.
news. I'm sorry. And
Okay.
I probably wouldn't even mention this, but we did mention recently that there was a lot of progress on carriage horses in New York City. And according to the ABC News, the proposal to ban the Central Park horse carriages was voted down by a key New York City Council committee. So apparently, this industry still has the inexplicable stranglehold on the politics of New York City. Hopefully, when the new mayor comes in, things will change, but I don't know. It's the unending issue. And, we thought we saw progress. We shouldn't have talked about it. Just
Mm,
making fools of ourselves. All right, good news. Good news now.
please get there.
This is a PCRM survey, so, I don't know whether they're reliable, but why not? Most Americans think schools should offer plant-based meals and milk. I bet that's really true. This is an article from Plant Based News, and it says that 60% of respondents agreed that schools should offer plant-based milk, meat, and milk. I mean, why wouldn't people say that? Why wouldn't people think that kids should be able to get the food that they want? And the vast majority of these people did not even know anything about lactose intolerance. They were just like assuming this is what the kids wanted and they should get it. Like, yeah, what a thought. What
Mhm.
an idea.
Yeah, by the way, just tiny little aside here. I was at the gym this morning and before noon, they offer free coffee and they do have a non-dairy option for the milk, but it's almond milk. And if you go to the little cafe, you could ask for oat milk. But why is almond milk still being offered
Almond
with
milk is, I
coffee?
think, is the most popular plant-based milk.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's
I
so
haven't
gross.
seen that statistic in a while, but it's not that long ago.
It's just disgusting in coffee, like, revolting, really, in coffee.
It really is.
It
Maybe
it
it's like
separates.
okay, like if you drink milk. Do people still drink milk?
No. I mean, I
What about
think
on
almond
on
milk.
cereal?
I think
Maybe it's
yeah, I
fine
was
on
gonna no,
cereal.
almond milk is fine in cereal and in smoothies, but
Well, on
again, do not
smoothies, you
have
can't
it
even taste
do
it.
do not have it out with coffee, just don't do it.
I agree.
Alright,
It's like so water. Well,
I'm gonna
there are
start at
probably a few people
change.org.
out there who are totally annoyed with us,
I
and the
need you
rest
know
of
what? I need
and the rest of
James
them are bored.
I need James, um, what's his name, to glue his hand to something for me.
Cromwell.
Cromwell. I need James Cromwell to glue himself to something.
James has done a lot.
Yes, he has. All right. So has this overpass in Utah. I love stories like this, and this is as
Yeah.
reported by vegan FTA Jordi Casamajana, which I
Right.
might have
Who
just
does some
said.
amazing work. Follow him
Amazing
on
work.
social media.
Yeah, really amazing
Um,
work.
tracking down news stories, positive news stories. Well, not just positive
Mhm.
news stories, a lot of news stories about animals. Wildlife overpass in Utah drastically lowers collisions with non-human animals. And what I think is so cool is that, they built this wildlife overpass, which is great. But somebody had to gather it's not just a matter of doing things, then they have to gather evidence of why it helps so that other people will do it too. And so this study was done by a master's student um, at Utah State University. His name is Blake Ledbetter. The name of his study, it's a little bit of a mouthful, is Seasonal and Temporal Influences on Successful Crossing Rates by Ungulates of a North Utah Wildlife Overpass. And yeah, all these different animals, like they come to the highway, there's an overpass nearby, and they use it. They're not stupid, they're just like at risk. uh Something like wildlife vehicle collisions in the area have dropped by as much as 77%. I mean, we need this everywhere. I am so sick of seeing little dead bodies on the streets. We need it in the middle of the city so the squirrels can, just go from tree to tree without being in the street.
We need
97%
it.
of mule deer and 100% of moose that were near the bridge used it.
We need it
They're
in
not
the parking
stupid.
lot of the theater that where I met my buck friend.
Right, right.
Yeah. No, there's actually one I remember doing an episode about something related to this for environmental connections, and there's one like in Buffalo. Um, that
They
that
should be everywhere.
so yeah, they should be everywhere.
Well, of
Absolutely,
course, the world should be very
absolutely.
different. Have you guessed that I feel that way?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. But we are doing some good news now, so let's talk about the news from
Yeah,
the
this is the
UK.
really big news. I think this is huge. For some reason, the article I got is from something called the Farm Buzz. UK sets deadline to phase out animal testing. UK accelerates animal testing phase out with new £75 million strategy. They want to get rid of it completely, and they're working on it. 75 million pounds, and that's in the UK. Their budget isn't as big as ours, and they this is this groundbreaking plan, and they're trying. I mean, there's already a process going on of phasing out animal testing for products, and they're trying to speed that up. But it's not just product testing; it's medical testing as well, vaccine testing. And the plan the UK has formulated aims to discover alternatives to these. So they're really moving ahead and they're very committed to it. And I love that. And, things are also proceeding well in the US as well. It's one of the few things that this administration has done that isn't horrifying. So I loved that story.
Yeah,
I think that's
this
that's
is
a really big deal. We're talking about a lot of animals.
right. This is also, one of those issues that has actually made a not even a
Yeah.
dent, like a friggin', hole in since we've started our hen house, since we've been involved. It's amazing. There's a huge shift, like a massive, massive shift,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it's
it's
very
certainly
exciting
far
to
from being
see.
completed, but it's on its way.
Yeah,
It's I
it
that I
is.
never would have thought we would have gotten here, even
Agreed.
just a few years ago. It is the the need to do this is acknowledged as partly financial and better science, but I really think this is something that is driven by the fact that they know that people hate them, and it's they work so hard to keep what they do to animals secret, and they know it's just a huge problem, not only because it's financially ridiculous and frequently scientifically poor research, but because people won't have it for some reason. This
Right.
is the issue that really makes people crazy. Maybe because it doesn't affect their individual life. I don't know.
Mm. So back to Jordy at Vegan FTA. Uh, Tell us about this article that he found.
All right. Well, this is the Global Animal Partnership, which has always been affiliated with Whole Foods. I mean, I remember when this was invented, and animal protection organizations were working with them, and there's been constant controversy that it's basically totally welfareist, and there are different levels, and finally, the three prominent animal welfare organizations that were working with them, the ASPCA, Humane World for Animals, and Compassion World Farming, said no, enough. They severed ties with them. They left the board of directors, and the conclusion is that it's pure humane washing. It's not actually doing what it says it's going to be doing. PETA has been against it for a very long time and has worked very hard to try to end this uh, fake patina that they put over a lot of these facilities that when they've done the undercover investigations, they've been treating the animals horribly. So, I am not against the idea of doing this, of having these labels, but I think this article, like everything else about humane, quote unquote, humane treatment of animals in the industry, it just shows that you can't do it. You can't treat animals well and sell their flesh. Like, if you want to do that, it's going to cost a fortune because it costs a lot of money to take care of animals, and
Mm,
it just doesn't work. It's not financially feasible. So even if you're not morally opposed to the idea of eating animals at all, which of course I am. I'm just saying I'm not against um the whole concept. I just don't think it's not workable. I mean, against the concept and the idea that makes it okay. I don't think it makes it okay, But if people want to work towards that, I don't think it's like, the worst thing in the world, except it is the worst thing in the world. Am I making any sense at all?
I
Because
get
it's
it.
all untrue. It's none of
Yeah.
it's true. At least when they do cage-free campaigns. I mean, I think they can be very deceptive because they make it sound like it's okay, but all they're saying is that it's cage-free. They're not saying it's humane necessarily. Well, I guess some of them are. So at least
Mer-
it's not
Mer-
an outright lie. You can't be humane and raise animals for food. It's not possible.
Okay, well, then the next, I guess, and maybe final piece of news for this week is something that I'm very pleased by, though it does confuse me, admittedly.
Yeah,
And
you've mentioned
it's,
that
yeah.
before. Well, go ahead.
Okay, well, it's about this article, which is great, and it's from The Guardian, and the name of it is It's Changed Me. That was a quote. Jeff Goldblum says he's stopped eating meat after working on Wicked. And the thing that confuses me is I already had him clocked as a
Yeah, I
vegan.
I googled that and I didn't see any reference to that. Are you sure?
Well, I did have it clocked. Maybe I just am a psychic. But regardless of that or not, this is very cool because he said that it was discussions about animal cruelty with director John Chu had led him to, as the article says, join Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo in renouncing meat. I'm personally not 100% sure that certainly that Cynthia's still vegan. But regardless, it's
You're not sure
very
that Cynthia's
cool.
vegan?
No,
That's
because there was some pictures of her like holding fast food that came out last year. She wasn't eating it, and it was for a promo, but and it was not entirely clear. And I sound like so the vegan police right now. But there have been a few mentions, I think, of
mm.
her not being vegan anymore. I don't have it in front of me. I'm totally spreading rumors right
Yeah,
now.
seriously, this is not our job, Jasmine, to spread unfounded rumors.
All right, talk about the
We're supposed to
article.
be the source. All right, Google it while I just talk about
I'm
this
I'm
article a little
googling it.
bit. I mean, that does ring a vague bell that Jeff Goldblum might have been vegan, but I did not find anything online to support that. What I really liked about this article, when I first saw the story, it said that he had stopped eating. I don't think he stopped eating fish. So it's not like he's gone whole hog, so to speak.
Mhm.
Uh, but I originally heard that it was because of talking to Cynthia and Ariana. And I'm pleased now at seeing this article, which was in The Guardian, that because it was the film series of themes about animal cruelty. I really like the, because I just think that it's such an unbelievably important theme in this extremely popular and iconic film series of the two films. And it's just ignored by everyone that it has anything to do with animals, and it's so obvious. So I like that this story really emphasizes that. Maybe people will, it's just like that quote that we used at the beginning of this episode that people just don't, see what they can no longer bear to see, and people do not they'll see Wicked and don't realize it's about animals when it's all about animals. It's crazy. But he apparently did notice that, and that is what focused him. I'm sure it didn't hurt that Ariana and Cynthia were there to support him and egg him on, so to speak.
Yeah, and the internet, which is always 100% reliable, said that doesn't say anything. So I could have maybe made it up in my head. Sorry, Cynthia. I'm sure you're listening. But regardless, this is very cool. And as we've discussed 9 billion times, well before the first movie came out. Uh, th- Obviously, Wicked is just an animal rights, manifesto, and there's to me no other way of seeing it. I don't understand why everyone's not talking about it, but I'm really glad Jeff Goldblum is, and I can't wait to see the second one personally. I'm super excited. All right. So is that basically
That's
it
it
for
for the
today,
news.
Mary?
I did want to mention this isn't a news story, but it is something that I really wanted to mention. We've interviewed the folks, Sarah Saluzzo and Jonina Terzi at Lancaster Farm Animal Sanctuary, and I just love them, and they're doing a really amazing work there. And we just found out that Jonina has been diagnosed with cancer. Like here she is, like I don't know how old she is, but she's not very old. And like why does this happen? It's just so upsetting. But it's a rare sarcoma, and her treatment is pretty specific, and she has to travel for it, so she needs a lot of specialized care. And insurance is covering some, but it's definitely not covering others. So I just wanted to mention that they are doing a GoFundMe, and for people who can contribute, I'm sure that would be deeply, deeply appreciated. I'm just so upset about this.
Yeah, it's really sad. She's a wonderful human, and I love Lancaster Animal Sanctuary, and I absolutely loved their episode too. They do really amazing work, and this is the kind of thing that like everyone thinks, oh, that happens to someone else, until one day it happens to you.
And
So
I just feel like recently I've been hearing about it happening to way too many people who are young, like cancer
yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
Very, very scary
Yeah, all right.
stuff.
Well, we'll link to that for people who are looking to support good folks. And speaking of supporting good folks, we are in our end of year fundraising right now. We're doing the vast majority of our annual fundraising at the end of the year per usual. And so I just want to thank you all, those of you who already contribute to our hen house, those of you who are thinking about it. We hope that you join us by going to ourhenhouse.org/support. If you become a flock member, there are some fun perks that you get, including bonus content and an invitation to join us for our Flock Fridays and watch some interviews being recorded live and have an opportunity to do Q&A with the guests. We know that times are tough right now, especially in the US. So, of course, we understand if you're unable to contribute financially. But if you are able, donations of any amount count toward our goal and are tax deductible and are being triple matched. So every dollar that you donate becomes $3. ourhenhouse.org/support. Thank you so much for being such an important part of the Our Hen House community. What do we have coming up, Mariann, on Our Hen
Our
House?
interview on tomorrow is with Benny Smith and Seth Green. And these, like, I love it when we interview people who are a million years younger than we are. Well, a million years younger than me, more just 500,000 years younger than you.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and they're up and coming activists, very, very bright, very, very educated, and using that to figure out research on the effectiveness of various theories of change, both for recognizing animals and for going vegan. I mean, I think so often all of the research just focuses on how do you get people to eat differently, but there's also quite a discussion of like how do you get people to care about animals when they probably already do.
Right.
So great
It's
interview.
it is a great interview. I'm really excited about this one airing. So thank you so much for those of you who are still tuned in. We really appreciate you, and we will talk to you next time.